Hi there, my name is Belinda Dubston and welcome to the I Ching Cafe and our weekly overview for 28th of March 2022, the last weekly overview of March. Here we are. So let's have a look quickly and recap last week. We had Marrying Maiden, hexagram 54, locked, asking us to double down on trusting the process and recognizing that even if we feel disempowered, not the queen bee, second in command, third or fourth in command, that the forces of change are guiding us to where we need to get to. And we have to trust the process, keep an open mind, and recognize the big cycles of life that are shaping and transforming where we are going. And personally had a big eureka in last week about an area of family responsibility that really needed to get some attention and needed this kind of marrying maiden approach. And I find that if we just open our minds with these hexagrams and we let them sit there and almost like give us a little bit of a heads up when something comes along, we kind of tap back into the weekly episode, and it really reminds us of the way of the master, how to think like a master in the situation. And so situation came up, family responsibility, and this hexagram popped into my mind. I was like, I understand on a deeper level what is really happening here. And let us trust the process and be open to taking the secondary position because we're being guided to where we need to get to. I hope that it helped you at whatever level it played out, whether it was a simple, everyday thing or something much more deep and profound for you. So if something did happen for you, or insights came, or you saw things in a marrying maiden way that you hadn't seen before, please do share that in a comment below. Right, so let's get into this week. Well, it is not a locked hexagram. Okay, so we have some lovely pops of change to work with this week. And our main hexagram for this week of the 28th of March is hexagram 3, difficulty at the beginning. Okay, that always sounds ominous, and I prefer Stephen Karsh's version where he calls it sprouting. Okay, so when something is being born and being grown and developing, there are potentially growing pains and a steep learning curve as we hit a new experience, as we arrive in a new world, and we have to now deal with it, and we have to learn, and we have to grow. I have so many times, and it's so appropriate for this hexagram, talk about the birth of a foal or a calf where, they out they go, and they have to get into their feet really quickly. So this week, we are being born into a new situation. Something new has begun, which we love. We love new beginnings, right? Okay, it gives us a new opportunity. But this week, something new in your life is being born. Your attention is being drawn into a new phase. Where have you sprouted? And with that comes growing pains. Okay, so the growing pain might be having to get up to speed on a project really quickly, or a new client, having to accelerate your understanding of the client, or starting a new project and having to learn lots of different facets, or getting to know different people, or developing a new skill. Whatever this is for us this week, we are sprouting and we have to build the ship as we sail. Okay, not ideal, but that is what we have to do. So what would the master do in the situation? Well, the not master, for example, would try and build all the flourishes on the ship while the ship is sailing. The turret and all the crow's nest and all these kind of, the Jolly Roger perhaps, build the things that are peripheral. But a master understands that when we are building a ship while we are sailing, we have to focus on making sure the hull is reinforced and that the keel is working and the rudder is working. I hope I'm getting all these nautical terms right. Build up the ship and make sure it's secure and watertight so that we know we can then start putting the flourishes on top of that because the base, the foundation has been built. So in this week, that is where our attention should be. When we are in sprouting, when we are on number 3, hexagram 3, this is where our attention should be, making sure that as part of stabilizing this growth spurt, that we build and settle down the foundation. We call in helpers, we rally the troops, right? And we get this foundation in place. All the flourishes and all the nice to haves and the frilly bits, we can add very soon. Now is about the foundation, the watertight hull that can get us safely to where we need to get to. So in this week, we have one changing line in the 4th position. And here is the symbol. A horse and a wagon have become disconnected. Or you could think of your van and your trailer have become disconnected. Okay, so the horsepower, the horse, the van, okay, needs to deliver value, which it needs the wagon for. And the wagon needs horsepower to deliver its load. And so there's something here where two parts of a situation that need each other have become disconnected, okay, unhooked. And what we have to do is we have to rehook them together. This week, this changing line says that despite the difficulty in trying to hook the horse back with the wagon, okay, or the van back with the trailer, is because we have to do it. We have to reconnect these things, and we have to do it this week. So there's something around the urgency of putting in the effort to make two things that belong together stick together. So for you, what are the two things that belong together that should stick together? What are the two parts of a project, a client, a relationship issue that you're going through, a domestic home issue? What are the two parts that have come undone and need to be reconnected with urgency? And the magic secret sauce, what does the master do in the situation? The master reaches out to friends and helpers. So this week, what we have to do is recognize that it is through the help of others that we can reconnect the cart back together again. Unfortunately, this process of reconnecting and hooking together is not going to happen under our own steam alone. We need others to help us. And so we must be willing to say, hey guys, I need your help. Come over here for a moment. Just give me a little bit of a oomph here so I can push these things together. And so this is a week about recognizing where we need help to complete the connection. Because there's something very important about us paying attention to the horse and the wagon being reconnected this week. And it's asking for help and not having ego about that, and reaching out and putting out the word to our network. Who knows who someone else who can help us, and everyone jumping on and pulling things together, and bloop, before you know it, horse and wagon are reunited, van and trailer hooked, taillights are working, everyone's happy, and off we can go into the sunset. Okay. All right, so that's our changing line for this week. As a result of that changing line, our hexagram, our second relating hexagram that works in parallel, that allows us to develop and grow this week, is hexagram 17, following. This is a beautiful hexagram, and it's all about following a lodestar, following something that's meaningful to us, being called forward. This is all about purpose and our values and the things that call to us, following that call, right? What are we inspired with? What is this star in the sky that is calling us? If we were the wise men crossing and looking at the star of Bethlehem, what would be calling us forward, right? And so following asks us to trust the process. And it's so interesting that for the third week in a row, we've had a hexagram where trusting the process is a key theme of that hexagram. I think that's really interesting because this one says, put one foot in front of the other. This hexagram calls us to follow the signs. And we've all had experiences, I'm sure you have, as I have, of a sign coming up and you take action, and it's another sign come up, and like you can almost trip yourself into thinking that, I'm making up these kind of signs coming my way. But sometimes they do come, and sometimes they're loud and clear, and we follow them, and we put one foot in front of the other, and we go this way, and then we get the next sign, and then we feel like the next step, and we take the next step, and we take the next step. That's what this hexagram is asking us to do. We cannot forward think the outcome and force the outcome. This is about following the flow of events. We take this action. Okay, what's happening? Right, it's obvious we go this way. Take that action, follow the next one. Following the flow of events. So as much as we have this hexagram brings us a reconnection to what's important, the thing that we are following, the thing that's meaningful, our purpose, the thing that's calling to us, the thing we really want to do within our teams, within our personal lives. just follow the steps, follow the flow of change. And in a way, by you following something meaningful to you, guess what? Behind you, there are other people who are following you. And so we move forward as a group. So a very interesting week. Really lots of new beginnings, lots of energy. You'll find that this week will be quite busy. There will be lots of sweat and effort getting this horse and carriage back together again. Call for helpers. This is not a time for ego. This is a time for teamwork in the mud. Okay, rallying together to get this thing reconnected so that we can move forward. This week, reconnecting what belongs together is really, really what we're being asked to pay attention to. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I wish you a wonderful week. Coming up around the corner is the April overview. Let's see what happens. Okay, March was a very interesting time. Let's see what April has in store for us. And so in the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe, or share this episode if it was meaningful to you. And of course, I'll see you on the socials and see you very soon.